Hello, today I'm going to review the Sonic Prime Jakks Pacific Shadow the Hedgehog figure. Starting out with his articulation, he has articulation in the wrists, and that moves around pretty good too because it's on a ball joint. He has articulation in his elbows, articulation in the shoulders. I'm better to show that on this arm though. He has articulation in his thigh, hips, whatever bone you want to call it, the top of his leg. He has articulation in his knees and in his boots, on his feet, around the ankle. Those are on ball joints as well. And there's articulation in the head. So a lot of good articulation on this figure, I think. And you can definitely get him into some good poses. And another thing I'll say is that the joints on this figure, at least, have that perfect stiffness so you can get him to stand up. Well, when you put him into a pose, that is, he will hold it just like that. Let me get the camera to focus. Yeah. Now in terms of detail on this figure, you can see he has like the fur molded into his quills. And I really like that because I've never actually bought a shadow figure before because I just don't like the action figure designs of the modern characters because they don't really have much detail in their fur and all that. But with the movie figures that they made, they had all the detail in the fur, and same thing goes with the Prime figure. So they finally made a shadow figure that has fur, and I really like it because it adds a lot more detail to him. But anyway, on the paint around his head, you can see he has like the, I don't know if they're highlights or just part of him or what, but the red on his black fur. And as that's printed on top of the black with a lighter color, it has a harder time getting that brightness, kind of like how Lego does with their figures when they have to print on top of black. So the red doesn't look quite as good as it could, and you can see quite a lot of seam lines and a few places where it looks like it didn't print as much. It's nothing too bad though, and I still think it looks pretty good, especially since he still has it on the back, although this place right here is one of those examples of a place where it didn't print as good. On the back of this quill is another example. You can see the seam line going down that one. Although I do find it funny that the seam lines on these figures aren't even as bad as the collector's edition figures that they did. Although I really do like those figures, they do have very visible seam lines. But in terms of other details that he has, you can see he has the golden rings around his wrists, and he has the cool looking gloves that come out up here as well. You see he has a little tail on the back. And around his shoes, you can see he has more rings, and his shoes look really cool, his little rocket skates. And on the bottom, they actually had the rocket boosters, which I really like. I like that they put that much detail into him. So I'll definitely try to get him into a pose where you can see the bottom of the shoes. I wish I had a clear stand to put him on where you could have him in a skating pose. But other details are the red highlights in his eyes, and you can see that he has the red pupils as well. He also has a little frown printed onto his muzzle, and he has some of that white chest hair that Shadow always has. This always made me laugh. And you can see he has a few more red highlights running down his arms. They're on both, if I just turn that one over. So this figure is very detailed. So I'm very... We'll let camera focus. Okay, I'm very happy to have a Shadow the Hedgehog figure now, and I hope that all the future figures they make will continue this trend of having the fur molded into the figures, because I like that a lot better than just flat coloring. But overall, I think this is a very, very good figure, even if the printing on the red isn't as good as it could be. And I'd say this is the best Shadow figure they've made, because this is the only one that I bought that I actually liked enough. But that's just my opinion. Maybe you like one of the other Shadow figures better. But anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye.